Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Kimberly with Journal Breeze. I am so happy that you stopped by today, whether this is your first time or you've been coming around. I appreciate you all so much. So today is going to be a real wing it kind of day. If you've been following me on Instagram, you are probably aware that I've been going through a big stack of digitals and cutting them up, making things out of them, and then giving some away and others just letting go into the circular file. And I've also been putting together like pieces into paper clips, and that's how this came to be. I have copied or printed out a lot of the book covers that are made by a few of the vendors that we know and love. Two that come to mind right away. I think Heather at Ruby and Pearl does, but I'm not sure. But I know I have some from Souvenir de la France, and excuse me, the other one is Sharon Hoth, Journalocity. And they just started taking their own books and covering them, or putting them on the scanner and taking pictures. Oh, and there's this one too. And so I've been buying them over the years. I have way more than this. And what I've discovered is that, some print better than others, some are prettier than others, some have a more interesting centerpiece, some have centerpieces I wouldn't want on a book, and some are just a single fold, so it'd be a really skinny journal. Some are more like this. They're really set up to make it easy to actually put signatures in. Some have, the maker tried to make it work out, because obviously this is very damaged and it was probably already separated, but even though this color isn't too far off, although it is, this color is really far off. So frankly, I wouldn't really want that on mine. That's just personal to me. And then this one doesn't have anything holding it together, so that needs to be decided. And then this is another individual one. You know what this one looks like to me? I don't know if you guys can see it, but to me, these look like ropes. Like that looks like a rope. Now you might think marine, but this kind of a design is the kind of design that you see on country western coats, jackets. I've always associated it with the West. It's got a western rope decor to it. If you look at it, you might see what I'm talking about. But in even this kind of a thing, it's just the kind of design they would use on, I don't know, western boots and stuff like that. So anyway, I don't like it because of that. I haven't used it for that reason. But anyway, so I thought that I would go over some of my ideas on how you might be able to get around some of those faux pas in case they've, gotten in your way as well. So hope that's something that you find interesting. I thought I'd start showing you a book where I use some of them. Obviously, this is the same as this one. I can't tell you which person these are from, you guys. I really printed them out ages ago, and I don't remember it all. So I gave you the two main people I've bought from, and possibly Heather has some as well that I haven't bought. So check Etsy. But this cover is that cover. Now the difference is that there's a blue. I'm a stickler for symmetry at times. I'm a stickler for detail. This has got a nice blue trim around the whole thing, and that I'm sure was on the paper, but somehow that got lost when I printed it out. And I again printed this out so long ago, I don't know if I did it or I don't know. I have no idea how that happened. And it also got cut off here, which I don't like, but I have a fix. And yeah, this whole top got cut off too. Oh, you know what it looks like? Looks like I made this smaller because this is the same height So maybe I printed this. Let's see. What does this measure? This measures... Oh, it's so hard to see on a clear ruler. This measures 8, a little bit over 8. So 8.5 is what our paper is. Oops. I'll fix that. I don't know how that happened, but you know what? I would reprint it. Yeah, I would rather have it be that way. I'd rather have all the edges. Oh, so it's much skinnier. That's the other thing that changed. It becomes much skinnier. So that makes for a skinnier book. So that book becomes almost 4.5, not quite. Yeah, so if you want to make a smaller book, 4.5 by 8, that's not so bad, really. That's not so bad. But I think I printed this out before the tall journals even came in. So this is kind of the size that some of the makers have made on a regular basis. So, yeah, well, I came up with a fix for this anyway. So if you want it to be wider, how wide is this? This is, if you go to this blue line, it's a little over 5. Wait, I wanted to show you how, if you were to cut this apart, you could put it on the front and the back. This was an old blue book that I had, and it happened to have this gold inner trim. So it just it looks like it came on the book. It really does. You can't even tell that I added it. I probably made the digital smaller until I could fit it in. Who knows? Maybe I even cut it separately and printed it in Word. I don't know. But I took another beauty and put it inside of the pocket. And you can see I left the middle strip on, so that's this one. And then, of course, it goes through to the back. And then I put this wonderful picture on top that I really love. And then I think I used it one more time inside. Did I? No, I guess I did not. Okay. But that certainly is an option. Okay. So what I don't like about this, beside this part being cut off, is that you've got this border over here that is not over here. That's more egregious to me. And so I had originally folded it on this outer fold so that the two would meet. But the front and back don't match. And so I never used it for that reason. So now what I've decided would be workable and doable is to make a score line on here so it can bend a little shorter . Let's see. I covered it with tissue paper inside, printed on my printer. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. That's certainly enough for a thin or narrow signature. And this is quite flimsy, so it's just calling for, coffee dyed paper or something like that anyway. But then you've got this. So what I thought would be good, I actually was going to try to use my crepe paper ruffle that I made and coffee dyed, because the color would be perfect. But you know what? I've misplaced it. I don't even know where it is, which just slays me. I finally get it dried and use it a little bit, and then I can't find where it is. Crazy. So that led me to my lace collection, and I came across this kind of unusual lace. It's got a front, and I think I could glue it here. I think it could go over the edge a little bit because it's so, the paper is so thin. I don't think it could go over the edge much. So that's why I'm pushing it back. But somehow putting that on there, I believe, detracts from this being cut off. What do you think? I'll bring you in. I mean, if you really look at it, it's obvious. But if you don't really look at it, if you glance, see if I bring it out a little bit and get a little more interest from this center. There we go. Okay. Okay. I'm making a video. Okay, so yeah, that I think actually does make a difference in terms of adding to the detractability of the thing. Distractability, not detractability. Well, I guess it's both. Okay, I like that. I think that's doable. Now, I've just wanted to, for just my own edification, I want to know if I were to put it, this is the craziest piece of lace to play with because it's like a banner. I don't know which is up now. If I put this right along the edge, which would give it the most sturdiness, I guess, to have it glued inside. Okay, how does that look? Oh yeah, it's boring. I mean, it works, but it's, you know what? It's kind of medieval looking. It's got a medieval. The laces of the medieval were often these banner kind of things, and they were dense like that. I don't like that. I'm going to do it this way. I just showed you. All right. So, yeah, I think this tissue paper was going to keep it flexible there. So I can tell that the paper, which is a linen or a laid paper, stationery, it's starting to crack a little bit. So, yeah, a lot of troubles with this one. So, I may not use this idea again. Okay, but you get my drift. Lace can come in handy. All right, so that's one to show you. Then this one, I just love. I'm not a purple person, but lately people have been coming out with journals that have purple and teal, and I honestly want to make one. So I remembered this cover, and I came across it in that style, in that pile I was going through. So, yeah. And then I was cleaning off my Graphics Fairy inbox and trying to put things better into, store them in categories that made sense so I would find them again instead of just being in there alone. And I came across this toile, which I've used before but never in the purple, and it's such a beautiful scenery. Just gorgeous. Toiles back at the time they were popular were pastoral scenes. Pastoral scenes. So that's why you see a lot of greenery and trees and farmland and, people strolling and luxuriating in the day. Something none of us know about anymore. So I was excited to use it, and I made a big faux pas right there. So I'm going to do something to cover that up. Don't know what, but yeah, my thread that I freshly made into the spool decides to mess up right there after starting over here. So go figure. Anyway, I've got some tips on making this. Okay, first of all, I used no glue at all whatsoever, and I can't recommend that enough. I seldom ever use glue if I am going to bend the two pieces together. it just eradicates all kinds of problems with them fitting and bending and all of that. So no glue. I used all my little snippies, all my little clippy things that I got from this cute sewing store in town, so that it was really held together perfectly, so that when I sewed and took one out, nothing shifted. And then the other thing I did to be perfectly sure that I didn't regret it later was that I got out a purple distress ink and I went around, well, the white edges were on this side and this side on the paper that faced, I went around almost all the edges. Let's just put it that way. And you can see that there's a little bit of it sticking out there. You can't even tell down here, it blends in so well. But up here, it's much lighter purple, so it kind of, stands out a little bit. But if I hadn't mentioned it, I seriously doubt you would have seen it. So, and I did that because I didn't want to cut it, because this edge is already less defined than this edge, okay? This has got a very comparatively solid gold edge with some width to it. This one doesn't. So if I would have cut this even shorter, there wouldn't have been any ledge at all, basically. It just would have really just been like that. And I don't think that would have looked balanced. I like the balance. I did use purple thread to sew it with, just a simple stitch. And I think it's just gorgeous. I'm very excited about putting a couple signatures in it. Nothing complicated, but teal and purple and neutrals will be what I want to do on here. All right, so no glue. That's the key. Darken your edges. That might show when, people could separate these and you might see white. So just have your edges darkened. I use, this is a thick paper. That's the other thing I wanted to tell you. This is a lightweight photo paper, and this is a single sheet of copy paper. And so normally I use two 32-pound sheets, mostly. Sometimes one of them is a photo paper and one's a 32-pound, but this one was already made, so I wanted to make it sturdy, so I surely used this. I think it's like 110-pound photo paper. And so on the other side I have printed on here already, and it was not a usable print. So I save all my not usable prints that have one side that's been, made unusable, and then I use the back side in situations like this. You probably do the same thing, but if it hasn't occurred to you, it's less to recycle. You can save money that way as well. Okay. All right, so let's get to this guy. So here's my thought. There's two things about this I don't like. This coloring. They tried. This one is a fairly decent match, but I don't know. I just don't think it's going to look good. Well, it might look good on the front because you're going to bend all that back, but then there's your... And maybe they didn't actually put that on there thinking we would do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But what's even more unacceptable is this murder on the cover. Or this guy that's, I think they've got swords laying here, so that's why I think he's been killed. I know, not me. I'm not looking at something like that. And I found out from some French friends, boy, my voice is not getting better today. The French will pick like a main story in the book, and a lot of these books are history. Just a ton of them. And so they pick one of the main things in the book, and oftentimes it's some grueling cover. It's not uncommon. Like in this one, she's at a tombstone. That's, not as bad as a murder, but same end result. This, it isn't centered. It doesn't have, this whole section isn't covered. They didn't look at art on the cover the way we might. I think that they looked at it more as, rather than putting on a title, here's the time period, or here are the people that we're going to tell you about. That kind of a thing. It was more like a window into the book than a title. It serves as a window into the book. So I want to replace this with this. So I thought I might cut that here in front of you because I don't like doing these things. Originally, I was going to figure out exactly, but you know what? I think it's better to not be exact at all. I think it's better to cut this out and then lay this behind it and see how much more I might need to cut or not. So the question you want to ask yourself is, do you want to cut it out here, or here, or here, or here, or even here? And it's hard to tell how wide this is, but it seems to be a little bit wider. Even if I cut it right on the same line, it's very close. And of course you can't have it be very close because then you'd be able to see the background. So I thought, okay, just cut it out and start with the innermost. I have to turn my light up a little bit. Start with the innermost line. Of course, I don't want to do this more than once. And this isn't very even, so I think I'll start with the blue. That seems to be more even anyway. Okay. So this is a thick, oh, wouldn't you know? I do not have the hang of these things. They just have not been a tool in my box for very long, so I don't tend to press very hard, and then that leaves a problem. And then when you try to go over it again, you end up not being in the same line. So let me see if I can open this somehow. Oh, you know, maybe I'll just do another one. Come back to it from the other side. Okay. Oops. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're all enjoying some better weather. We've had rain for the past 2 days. Oh, it's so lovely to wake up to rain. Oh my God, I ruin my rulers all the time with these knives. I keep getting new ones. These stupid rulers are $5 a piece on Amazon. I think that's just nuts for a plastic ruler. But I like that it's got the handle. Okay, so I have two sides that didn't get cut through. Oh, okay, I see an opening. I see an opening. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, yay. All right. Let's hope. Okay. All right. Oops. Oh. All right, let's see if we can get this one. No, I don't think so. Okay, let me try a different roller that I can't run. Okay. Oh! So I should do it more often in a row. I'll get better at it. Okay, that's good. And then whoops, I think it went off a little bit. Okay. Now what I want to do is get in there with a scissor. You know, I can just cut this up. I'm never going to use this picture. Okay, So let's see if we go around this corner. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, just, I'm not a great fussy cutter. And this may not even be the cut I end up using, so. Oops. I have made some really fun ephemera. Oh my gosh, come up with some really good ideas because I'm trying to whittle down that pile. I'll share some of it with you. Not today, but I'm making an altered book, which I'll also be sharing with you, that has a nature theme, women in nature, feminine energy in nature. And I've made some really cool things for it that I really have enjoyed the process. Ephemera. So I'll share those with you eventually. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's even bigger than... Oh my goodness. Okay, so surprise, surprise. It ended up being bigger than I thought. So what if we brought it up? We went like that. No. That's a little better. Let me see. Let me put the light down so it's not so glaring. Okay. That sort of looks like somebody's holding a mirror, like there's a handle here. And I don't know, that's probably not something I could live with. Okay. Let me see. I can't believe it. I can't believe it was so much taller. And I didn't realize it. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know what to do. If I could see the sides, then the height wouldn't be such an issue. But because they're hiding, it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to braid it, and I'm going to cut all along this gold so that everything that shows through is from this. Okay, let's see, how much time do we have? 14 seconds. Okay, well, I'm going to go a little bit over of what I planned. Let me see if I can set it again. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, AC needs to be turned up or something. It's so hot. You know what it is? It's muggy because of the rain. We've had mug. Ugh. You know what? I almost might be better just using a scissor. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. It's only paper. I can print it again. I'd love it if you'd comment with any ideas you have on this topic. I love that we have access to these book covers. I actually own 2 of these books and got them out of another place in my house to show them to you, and of course totally forgot about it, and they're too far away to get, so I won't be showing them to you today. One's 54, and the other, I cannot find a date on it, but it's rag paper, so. Alright, so there's no dots on this side and there's dots on that side, so if I want to be picky, that would be a problem. Right, and put this under here. Oh, okay. Wow. And that, in my opinion, works. Let's even it up a little bit. I'm going to have to put this on a heavier paper, glue it down, so that it can have a wider paper behind it. It's got to be wider, W-I-D-E-R, and so it can be glued. And then I'll position it. I think I will cut off those dots so that this section can show more. And then I will have, yeah, I want it to be, yeah. And actually, the top and the bottom, this looks like it's floating into that, and same here. I think that's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love it. Oh, I think it's so stunning. And I'm going to take my gold liquid paint pen and a ruler or a piece of paper and go around the entire edge to match to the gold, to tie it all together. This is a beautiful color too, obviously, and gold, but it doesn't shine as bright as this because this is against the white. So by putting the gold pen here, it will highlight that. Then I'm going to cut off, I don't even know if I'm going to use this spine. It's really in bad shape, and it's really a different color too. I believe it's the spine that was on there. No doubt. The design is right and stuff, but it's just, sun, dirt, all that. Sits on a shelf. You get spines that are different colors all the time. So, no shade is my point. No shade whatsoever. I'm grateful to the makers of these. But I don't think it's worth saving. So I'm going to cut these probably on the line, or it's going to show. I don't see any other way around it. So on the line and on the line, I'm going to gold pen these as well, and then I'm going to glue this to another sheet of paper that's big enough to fill this entire back or close to it. Yeah, the entire back. I'll just do the entire back. And then lay that on there, and it will be a beauty. And I'll make another spine. And I was going to make another spine for some of these others, and because our time is short, I'll tell you my thought. I'm thinking of cutting out, printing another one, and then just cutting out my own width of a spine and putting it on there. Do the paper inside or the fabric and the paper, and then glue the spine to it. But why not? Why not take a section of the book itself? I think that's going to look fantastic. So that's my plan for that. Let me see if there's anything else here real quick I can share with you. On this sheet, this is the front. It's not a terrible scene. It's really nice. They're playing cards or they're eating or something. It's a family. But it's dull and dirty looking. So this one is prettier. But then this becomes upside down because obviously this goes into the spine, so you can't, even if I flip it on the printer, let's see if I flip it. Well, that might work if I were to flip it. Let's see. No, it still puts this thing at the outside. So, so I'm going to use this for my cover, and then I'm either going to cover this up and have the front look like that, or I'm going to cut it out and put something behind it. And then I might put like a portrait or something else in this space, and maybe on top. I'm not sure. And then this one, I was thinking, well, this one is okay as it is. I'm going to let her stay because I think it's a very pretty picture. This one I'm going to cut out and place another picture behind it. And what I'm auditioning for these things is this. Now, I think the coloring looks better on this one, but the size is so different. Like, all there would be room for is this pretty little pink thing and the surrounding white that would just fit in that window. So my thought was, what if I started out by cutting out the oval and putting it on top? If that oval were to fit nicely between the bottom of these frames, top and bottom, or better yet, in this space, then that would be really pretty, and I think it wouldn't be necessary to cut it out. But I'm really not sure until I cut this out and lay it down there and see. And then on this one, I think it would be too small, yes, indeed, for this. So then if I were to cut around the whole thing, would that look nice in there? I think it would. This is a yellow green, if you have to call it yellow or blue green. It's more of a yellow green. And this is a blue. But I think it would work. I think they're both pretty colors. They're not too different. They're both in the medium. And then this has a lovely spine. So I'm going to use it as a spine, just reinforce it from the inside. And I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to share that this must be from Souvenir de la France, because inside I have book pages and she sells them. I know a lot of people do, but I'm pretty positive I bought this from her. And so it just worked out beautifully. I love that this is going to be the inside cover. And the beige is so similar. And I think it's just a gorgeous book. Anyway, my plan was to use this as a Christmas journal, which might, you know, there's a little bit more acceptance of a gravestone at Christmas. You know, you go visit people you love in various forms, right? So, or I might cover it with something. I'm not really wedded to it. And I also might cut off this little trim, which I actually really think is adorable, but it's not on this side. And so to me, it doesn't look good. But as I say that, I'm thinking I could make another copy and cut it off and glue it down. It's a lot of work. I'm not so sure it would stay on. But look how pretty. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. I hope that was motivating, that you thought of something cool that you have sitting in your stash that you haven't used because it's a little quirky. And I hope you'll tag me if you make something. I appreciate you coming today. If you loved this, please say so in the comments and hit the like. If you really got moved, hit subscribe and the notification bell. All of it's appreciated. I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. I can't get to where the controls are to turn it off. This is crazy. Oh, there we go. Okay.